It is day three of Electric Picnic 2014. Now, the rest of us are looking ever so slightly pasty. Our voices are a few octaves deeper, including the cameraman and all the people behind him here. But St Vincent, Annie is not looking in any way worse for her. You've only just arrived, though, haven't you?
Well, I've only just arrived to the festival, but this is the end of a 3 week European UK tour.
Well, this is the thing. Us who are based at a festival like this think, oh, wow, we've had it rough but fun. But then people like you come in from sometimes very, very lengthy tours. So you're probably looking at us going, what a bunch of lightweights.
No, not at all, but I did have a conversation with a journalist a couple days ago who said, oh, if I'm away from home for more than 2 days, I lose my mind. And me and my band and crew all kind of looked at her like, like we didn't know if the mirror if it was a funny mirror and she was crazy or we were crazy because we haven't been home in so long. It's been
How
forever.
do you deal with that though? Is it just part of the gig and you just get on with it?
I love it. I mean, and I like the constant stimulation. I like the high stakes. I like the structure of the built-in drama of a show, and also I've surrounded myself with lovely people who I like touring the world with, so that helps too. It does come down to being able to be with people you adore.
You were here last year, and you played a particularly what people remember as a really remarkable set with David Byrne. Um, do you remember anything particular about that performance, or does it kind of meld into lots of others?
Well, it doesn't meld. I very specifically remember that performance because we had been playing a lot of theaters and places where people were a little bit more buttoned up. And those were fun. Those were great shows too. And by the end, we got everybody dancing. But I just remember we walked on stage and it was just like instant energy. And people were dancing from song one instead of, maybe 45 minutes into the set some lady with white wine starts the thing going. It was so exuberant. It was exuberant, and I find that with Irish crowds too, like a very it's kind of a nice down to earth thing, which I relate to.
Was that one of the reasons why you're kind of happy to come back this year?
Yeah, I was psyched. Also, last year we saw the house that's on the grounds. We took a little tour, and it's insane. There's a really amazing taxidermy collection. I think I might have tweeted or who knows, whatever, put some picture of it on the internet. But there were like posed squirrels boxing like this, and
Were they
but
stuffed or posed or?
well, I mean, I think they were. If they weren't dead, then
All right.
that's
No, I
even
mean, were they real
crueler.
ones? They weren't kind of like,
Oh no, it was taxidermy. It was a
Oh, sorry, right, I
whole.
missed that. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a whole extensive room just of taxidermy and animals, holding summit at card tables.
Yeah, I missed that rather long word that you see.
Oh
you
yeah,
use there.
sorry. It's day 3 for you.
It
That's
is day three. You see,
forgivable.
this is lightweight. We get
Yeah.
back to that word that's hyphenated. But yeah, did you get what type of reaction did you get to that? I'd imagine it was somewhat mixed.
Oh, to the.
The animals.
Well, I feel like they were sort of. It's the manor or the house is so old, and it had been. Uh, those taxidermied animals were from at least 100 years ago, which I think is a little bit before people started
Yeah, it
caring
is.
about anything other
Yeah.
than people, if we care about people now.
Yeah, well, I've always had a thing. I've always wanted a mounted moose on my wall.
Yeah.
It's on my list there somewhere. So
Hey, I know a great place in New York that makes, if you are feeling morally complicated about the actual killing of an animal and mounting it, I know a great place that I have paper mache taxidermy
okay,
in my house.
shipping might be a bit of an issue, but we're sure we gotta look at the price.
You know what? I'll sort that out for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Can I hold you to that because it is on film here? We can reference this piece of this conversation.
This is on film.
Are the cameras rolling? Damn,
No,
I wish they'd tell us these things. It's
yeah.
ridiculous. Tell me this: the collaboration with David Byrne. How did that come about? Well, I've read various different stories about how it did, and I'm wondering which is the true one.
Right. I'm sure you've read various different stories, and none of them are really that interesting. But they're all sort of true. We met at a charity event, and he came up to me and he said he really liked my video for a song called "Actor Out of Work," which was, I guess a sort of Marina Abramovic construct where I was auditioning actors and they were crying in front of me and I was stoic. It's a little cruel if you think about it. But anyway, he liked the video. He told me he thought it was very creepy, and I thought that was a big compliment. And then we saw each other at a charity event about 3 days later at a place called Housing Works in downtown New York, where Bjork and the Dirty Projectors had done a night of collaboration music. And so the people from Housing Works uh, came up to us individually and said, "Oh, would you guys like to collaborate on some music to just play in a bookstore one night to raise money for an AIDS charity?" We said, "Yeah, sure, of course." And then it just grew. We, we didn't stop. We had 5 songs that we really liked and thought were really promising, and David's not one to do anything halfway, so we thought, well, why don't we put out a record? Well, if we're going to put out a record, we might as well tour. And then, next thing you know, it was basically 5 years of my life by the time we finished the record and did the tour, and it was so wonderful, and I love him dearly.
Well, thank God that you did. Did you have the current, your self-titled album, did you have some of that material written at that stage, or did you just literally have to jump into that straight after that tour finished?
The only thing I had written for St Vincent, the musical, was lyrics to Prince Johnny, but it didn't have any melody, and it was just a short story. I had to kind of cut and trim and make it singable.
So you're in, from one thing, you're into pretty much a fairly full-on situation of album and all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess most of the writing, I wrote it and recorded it in about 6 months, maybe 9 if you count kind of little tweaks and whatnot. And I only kind of paused making the record to go back on a tour with David and come here and go back through the States. So it's the best, unfortunately, we live in a society where a lot of people don't like the job that they have to do, and we have to make money, so we do something, and I feel really lucky because I get to do what I love to do, and so I don't feel the need to take a break from it. It's not like, oh, this music is just, I feel like I've been, drawn behind a gaggle of horses. It's like, no, this is fun. I always want to hear new things and return to this thing that will just always be there for you and be a constant source of life.
I'll ask you one other thing, firstly, because I know you have to go shortly, and also the room is getting hotter and hotter, and before it turns into just we all boil.
I'm really glad I wore this jacket.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
The Nirvana tribute show, you performed at that.
I did.
What was that like? That must have been pretty special.
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't really know how to process that. I mean, I can. Dave and Chris and Pat were so incredibly kind and generous. All the Nirvana team, management, and the whole right down the line was so sweet, and everybody's heart was in the right place to do it, to be a part of it. And Kim Gordon's amazing and one of my heroes, and Joan Jett was amazing and should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and somehow isn't. But that's for another time. And Lord was totally sweet and so massively successful and so young and awesome. And I don't really know how to process it. I've been asked about it quite a bit, and I have some sort of stock answer. But the fact is, I can't believe it. I wish. It makes me sad to the core of my being that Kurt isn't still around, and that he doesn't get to sing those songs anymore, and people don't get to hear him sing those songs. But as a person for whom Nirvana changed my life, I feel it's too big. It's too big for me to process the fact that I got to play with those guys. It's too much. I can't really. I could say something and it would feel fucking phony, to be honest.
Look, for someone who can't process it, you put it very eloquently, so thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing your set later on. I hope you enjoyed it as much as you did last year.
I will.
Sounded like you had a blast.
I will.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.